game 3 here with Party Hour. This hand, we've got some card draw, we've got an early cycler, reasonable power. Champion's not too interesting until later, but I think with 2 push onwards this is a fine keep. Toss out our double sigil and let's see what happens. Our opponent is on an aggressive deck. Alright, well, they can't all be Dirtlefests, I suppose, and Champion's really not what I want to see, and neither's the 3rd push onwards. So, we don't actually have any Lightning Storms in our deck. Oni Striker, we are just getting in there. Alright, well, some aggressive plays for coming out my way from my opponent. But Scouting Party on 4 is going to be good enough to stop them. At least all the 1/1s. So as long as our opponent isn't playing Plague for some reason in his aggressive Stone Scar deck, or is lucky enough to play Bandit Queen, we should be able to bring the board back to parity. Or at least relative parity. No queen just one time? That's not a queen. Oh, and I like him not attacking. That's what I like to see. So we can't find an Annihilate or anything. We do find a Feln Stranger, which helps us reach for the skies here. Do I want to attack? I want to, but I think it's better to wait a turn. Because depending on how much he attacks with, we might be able to get him with Champion. Okay, my opponent has torched their own unit. I think that was a misclick. Oops. Fire Adept is certainly an aggressive card. There's a Witching Hour. Okay. So now that we have a Witching Hour, we just want to stay alive until we can cast it. So we're going to push onwards for a removal spell, which we won't find. But we will find a Vera's Favor, which will get us the power that we need in order to play Witching Hour. And will also, gain us some life, stabilize the board a bit. So the play this turn is just stay alive. It's also that the Vera's Favor also pushed us out of being in a turn 2 clock against the Impending Doom, which was nice. Post-combat Oni Striker. And we get extremely lucky. We now have enough, just enough mana to play 2 Witching Hours in 1 turn, which isn't actually good enough here. Our board's too full. So I'm going to use the double killer option, intentionally trading that down before playing the second option, or rider, because you don't get any summon, you don't get the option to replace units with summoned units. If your opponent doesn't have Annihilate as their last card. They do not. So now that we have all this backup, we're going to get in there with these Yetis. That was a very good secondary draw, and I'm pretty sure we just win the game next turn. Assuming we survive, of course. Sigil Flame Blast would be a problem, but also probably our opponent's only out. So that particular trade removes Cloud of Ash as an option, since I do believe he had 6 points of damage on the field. Piercing Shot plus Torch will not be enough, and we're going to take it. That double hour draw was good enough. So things to consider there. Even though we had the champions, we never played them. Even though we had the opportunity to get aggressive with our scouting party Yetis, we didn't, because I was afraid of the backswing for the most part, and once I had the witching hour, I just wanted to survive. It was a bit of a lucky draw there. Drawing the secondary hour. I think if I don't draw that, I wait a turn on the killer, then play the Champion of Cunning after blocking with a flyer, and use the killer to trade it off, assuming I don't draw a better line. But ultimately, once we drew that second witching hour, we were certainly in business. So I hope to see you all for Game 4.